Wow, a pile of crap. Unorganised crap, but good crap. Welcome back to the sound test. Today I'm going to show you the difference between an LED strip light, and I'm going to fit one so you can see how to fit it as well, and a old school fluorescent light fitting. So stay tuned. Technical information for the LED if anyone's interested. It is from it's from Screwfix, and it is, where's the make? It's a lap, which is our lap. This is a 5-foot fitting. Here's your lumens, and it converts it so it tells you what it actually is in watts. Sometimes you think you're actually getting a really energy efficient LED, and it's a little bit of a con, to be honest with you. Some of the 6-foot LEDs can be 45-50 watts, or some of the old school fluorescents are the same wattage and they can give you the same amount of light, so just be careful. That's the colour of this particular light, 4000K, which is kind of like daylight. It's quite good for your workshops and stuff, and good for the cameras. And that's how many hours of burn time you should get. I would say fit this, you know, flat on a ceiling, because it will overheat if you put it in like a surrounding. You need to let it breathe. That is the whole thing with LEDs. If you don't let them breathe, they'll die on you. So there you go. Fun fact of LEDs. It's not really that fun because no one really seems to know about it. Your LEDs will deteriorate every single year of use, regardless of how they're installed. Obviously, if they're installed without a very good heatsink on them, then they will deteriorate much quicker than if they didn't have the heatsink. But nevertheless, they will depreciate. Every single year you will notice they get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, it's around 10% every year. So you go to these offices in London and they have their lights on all day, sometimes all night. Within 1 year, theirs has dimmed down by a considerable amount. So if you have to change a light fitting that's next to an old existing light fitting, you can really see the difference between the two. So just keep that in mind. If you ever have to change a light, one of your LED fittings, you need to tell your wholesaler or the supplier or the manufacturer that obviously you can't install a light next to another light, and by rights they should change all of them for you. It might be a little bit of a pain, but it is a better job and you get your money's worth, kind of. When you unpack it, you'll see that there are there are two metal brackets. And because this fitting is just going to be, it's just going to have one cable going into it. It comes with a like a blank off stop end, which can go in there. If I can do it one-handed. I don't believe the one that I had replaced this with, didn't matter what way you put the cables into the fitting, so you can feed it from either end. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it must be, because it's an LED. Right. And then the other end, pick up the stuff he's dropped. And these just screw in. Excellent for the workshop because they've all got these little rubber gaskets on, so it should stop all the water penetration getting through into the actual fitting itself. Hopefully. Is there a lock ring on there? Oh, there is. Okay. I need my other hand. The older style of these fittings had two screws that were retaining the end cap, but this one is just turn that, pull that, and then you'll see the connections inside. Pull that little tab, Is that as far as it's going to come? I think it is. And then you can make your connections. Is that focus? There you go. Then you can make your connections in there. Make sure you connect them around the right way, obviously. Now the terminals, as you can see, are live and neutral. I'm not sure what you call them in the US. Positive and negative? I don't know. But we have a live and a neutral. The L is the brown. Oh, so daisy. Let me just show you. So the L is the brown. This guy, which is the live, and the blue is the neutral, and the green and yellow is the earth. And as you can see, there is no earth. And the reason for this is because, well, this is what the manufacturer will tell you, is there is no conductive parts on this light fitting, which is why you don't need an earth. But if you was connecting them from end to end to end, you may possibly have a cable going from this fitting to the next fitting, or a piece of conduit. Well, now you can't connect it. You can't connect the earth through because there's nowhere to connect it. You'd have to run a separate cable. You'd have to run a separate earth to get your earth cable from that end of the fitting to the other end of the fitting, which kind of defeats the object of being able to wire through them. Why is this, you may ask? Because this is probably made in China or somewhere to EU standards, and they aren't the same standards that we have in England. Why do we allow these fittings into our market? I don't know. It's always been a question to me. Why is that acceptable? It doesn't meet our regulations, but still we like to itch the EU's butt. Here's the fluorescent. Takes a little bit of time to get on. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not. Yeah, you see this flickering? I can... no, I can't see that with my naked eye. But you can see it on the camera. If you had all of your lighting as fluorescent fittings and you were recording, it will do this. Exactly what you're seeing. And it actually ends up giving you a headache. That's why I don't use these in offices anymore. But these are LEDs that I already had put up. It is good to have a fluorescent because it's a different type of light, so you can do something here on this fluorescent, and then there might be something that it doesn't seem bright enough for, then you can go over here and use the LED. I have 2 benches with 2 different options of lighting, but I still haven't put that light up. Oops. All done and dusted. Switcher on. Jesus. Pretty bright. You can see the difference between the these. See these LEDs? It's kind of fuzzy, isn't it? This LED here is warm white. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. And this is the so this would be the what is it? 3000K, and that's the 4000K, or is it 27? No, 27 I think it is. I also had to tidy up while I was in here today because it becoming a right shit pit. Sorted out outside a little bit, made a little bit more room. I've got a table that I've had there for ages, which is now under this tarp, which is a good old school table that someone has made. I think it's pretty old. They've welded it all together. I want to put that possibly in here or outside. It's a job for another day. I need to make a base for it. I was thinking of putting it across my workshop like this, because all my work surfaces, if you're working on something you want to get around it, it's kind of annoying because you can't. So I'm thinking of getting rid of this countertop here, getting rid of all this crap. See what I said yesterday or whenever it was about collecting wood? I just keep pieces of wood. They are very useful, don't get me wrong, but it's time for them to go in the fire pit. Go on, go toilet. Get down there. No. Let him. Toilet. Go. Go on. You can do it. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 otherwise you'll get wet. Good boy. There's his piss patch.